The key concept to this problem is the construction of the, the sign chart from the factored form of a polynomial. So in this case, the polynomial that's being studied is this polynomial x plus 2 times x minus 5. We're not going to worry about this yet. This is just asking for a particular answer from the sign chart after we make it. So our goal here is to create a sign chart for the polynomial that's the product of these two things. The way we do that is on the number line, we address each factor one at a time. So rather than think about the product, we're going to think about the two factors that make up that product. And in each of these rows, we're going to make a sign chart for this particular factor. So we do that by first thinking about where this factor would be equal to 0. And that, in this case, that's going to happen at -2. This factor is going to be a 0. Now notice I've rewritten my number line. This number line that I'm going to shade eventually, I've tried to draw another picture of it here. And then I'm trying to put my sign chart information under here so I can keep everything kind of lined up. And that's just to make it easier to read what I'm doing. So I'll draw a little vertical there to try to highlight that 0 is supposed to be under the x value of -2. The values of x plus 2 then are going to be either negative or positive over here and either negative or positive over here. They can't change on either side of this because we have already found the only place where this thing is 0. And so there's no way they can change while they're over on this side or this side. But we don't know what's on which side. So to do that, I can just pick a number from my number line again, so maybe -4, and plug that in to this and think about -4 plus 2. And the nice thing about this calculation is I shouldn't really need a calculator because I don't care what the number is. I just need to acknowledge that -4 plus 2 is going to be a negative number. So I'm adding a negative that's more negative than the positive 2. So if it's negative to the left side of that 0 that I wrote there, then it's got to be negative everywhere to the left side of that where I wrote the 0. Similarly, we're going to pick a number over here on the right side of where I have the 0. So x equals 0 is not a bad thing to choose. If I put that in here, 0 plus 2 is positive. So again, it's a little weird because I'm doing arithmetic, but I don't care what the number is. I only care whether I'm going to get a plus or a minus. And once I figured out I'm going to get one plus over on that side, and I've got to get all pluses over on that side. So that's how the sign chart analysis looks for the factor x minus 5. Again, I first figure out where that's equal to 0, and that should be when x is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at x equals 5, x minus 5 is going to be 0. And again, I'll make a little dash here to make it clear that that's all lined up. And then once again, I'm taking this expression and I'm picking some values on either side of the 0. So for example, if I'm to the left of 5, that would be a number like 0 that I could plug in here. 0 minus 5, definitely negative. So my expression is negative there, and so it's got to be negative everywhere on the left side of this 0. Similarly, I can pick a number on this side, like x equals 6 or x equals 7, plug those in. 6 minus 5, 7 minus 5, those are positive numbers. And again, I don't have to sample a bunch of them, just you might sample 2 just to make sure you didn't make a mistake with one of them, but whatever you get as far as plus or minus goes, that should be the same everywhere to the right of 5. Okay, so those are our only two factors, and so now I'm ready to make a sign chart for the product of those two things. And to do that, I'm just using my rules about how signed numbers multiply. So over here, I see a minus and a minus. So in this product, I'll have a negative number times a negative number. And so above that section, I'm going to have all the pluses here. Oh, I didn't actually say that I should fill in here these zeros. And again, it's because of the product analysis. This is a negative number times 0 equals 0. This is 0 times a positive number equals 0. So I'm really just thinking about the stretch of numbers times the stretch of numbers and filling in the stretch of numbers. So if I do that throughout, I'll have minus numbers, negative numbers here, because in this region, I'm always multiplying a negative number times a positive number. And out here, I'll always have a positive times a positive, and we know that that's positive. Okay, so my sign chart for the product then shows me exactly where the y-coordinates are positive, exactly where the y-coordinates are 0, and exactly where the y-coordinates are negative. So now I can go back to the original question. This question in words is saying, where is x plus 2 times x minus 5 positive? So that symbol greater than 0 is asking where this is, or yeah, just greater than 0 is asking where this is positive. Notice that it's not saying greater than or equal to 0. So I really, really, really just want to answer where the plus signs are on the sign chart. So I can shade that on my number line, maybe. So the places I'm going to get a positive are here and here. I'm not including these values. Negative 2 and 5 are not to be included because I don't get positives above those. I have zeros above those. And this is asking only for where the expression is positive. So this thing, even though I've drawn it in yellow, well, I guess I can continue to draw it in yellow. It's not like a classroom screen where it's hard to see. I'll have open circles at minus 2 and 5 for my answer. And I'll have the shading going this way. And the shading going this way. So in my answer, I'm just trying to draw a picture that looks like the shading that I did here. And that'll be the right answer.